What's up, guys? You're stuck with me again. Hopefully this is the last time, but if not, deal with it. Things we're going to be discussing is European Open, the European Disc Golf Festival, new sponsors for the Disc Golf Pro Tour that were recently announced, as well as what do you think about Gannon? Is he the real deal? Let's talk about it.
You're listening to The Disc Golf Show.
How's it going, guys? You are listening and are watching to The Disc Golf Show. The Disc Golf Show is brought to you in part by Final Nine Sports. They have two locations in Northern California, one in Orangevale and one in Rocklin. So if you do live in the Northern California area, go stop by. They've always got goodies popping into the shop. And if you don't live in the area, go support local because, as Justin says, you should. Firstly, we do want to give another thanks, just like last episode, to Laser Engraving and Embroidery. They are the ones that supplied us with these cool polos here, the embroidering here. This is, I forget how you call this, embossed, not embossed. Either way, there's some great, well-fitting, comfortable, breathable polos. They not only do polos, but they do other items as well, hats, all kinds of apparel. So go check them out. Their website is engravingembroidery.com. Website looks kind of like that. Actually, it looks exactly like that because that's the website. But before we get into the meat of the show, I did want you to possibly tap, smash, hit, click that subscribe button. It does really help. We are nearing the 1,500 subscriber mark on YouTube, and when we do hit that, just like last time, we'll be holding a giveaway. So we got some goodies definitely to give away to you guys. 1, 2, multiple winners? We'll find out. Depends on how much stuff we have to give out. Let's move into the house cleaning. We have an announcement of a new sponsor that's been added to the Disc Golf Pro Tour. So that is One Shot Energy, right there. They've been announced to be they've announced an expanded partnership with the Disc Golf Pro Tour for the remainder of the 2024 season. All players will have a chance to earn a prize pack from One Shot if they hit an ace on the One Shot sponsored basket at the future USDGPT events. So there's going to be a specific hole that allows the players to win a prize pack. In addition to that, they are offering a 25% off your order code. That code is DGPT. So if you go to oneshotenergy.com and use code DGPT, you will get 25% off your order. So if you already drank that, use that code, get some more goodies. If you haven't tried them, try it out for the first time, you get 25% off. So yeah, I'm pretty quick, short list of housekeeping topics this episode. But let's get into the events because a lot has happened over the last 2 weeks. There have been a few large events, or a couple large events. And those include, not only do we have the European Open, European Disc Golf Festival, you have the President's Cup that just happened as well, but we had the Junior Disc Golf World Championships, and that was held in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I did want to go through these names and acknowledge them because these are those up-and-comers, these are those new young names that will most likely and hopefully be atop the board in the future years. So I'll run through these really quick. We aren't going to spend a ton of time, but I did want to acknowledge those winners. So in MJ18, you had Ryan Monn. You had MJ15 division. You had Austin Yoder. MJ12 was Taaniel Mehine. I hope I don't slaughter those names, but there's a possibility. MJ10, you had Nikko Forbes. MJ8, you had Cody Buker, one of those. As for FJ18, you had Kayle Hess, Keely, I'm going to repeat that. Kayle Hess. FJ15, Therese Cuevas. FJ12, Eva Lutsenko. FJ10, Sarah Wadsworth. And FJ8, Keely, Bain. So big shout out to those young players at the Junior Disc Golf World Championships. Well-deserved titles there to add or start their list of victories. Let's move on to, really quickly, before the European Open happened, we had the 2024 President's Cup. Every year, it gets closer and closer. Every year, the European team gets better and better. However, this year, it was kind of not necessarily lopsided on the list of players. However, how it went down was a bit lopsided. So the U.S. ended up kind of dominating this year's event of the President's Cup, and that adds to their undefeated record, currently sitting at 12 years in a row. That list of European players, though, is strong. You know, it's not everybody's day sometimes, you know, and though the U.S. did dominate this year, the list of players that were on the European team was massive. Very big names, very strong players, and a ton of talent on that side. It just happened to not be their day that day. So big shout out to the U.S. for winning their 12th in a row President's Cup. Now moving on, just after that, because that was, I believe, Wednesday. On Thursday is when the European Open started. The biggest deal there was that change to hole 16. The rules changed to hole 16, so we were able to see how that played out and how it affected the players and their decision making on that hole. This year also, I wasn't the biggest fan, but there were two courses this year that happened. So first course, the first 2 days was held at Tampere disc golf course. Personally, I feel that that course deserves its own event. It's an amazing plot of land, amazing holes. It's a different style of play compared to Nokia. But the first two holes were held at Tampere. The last two holes were held at Nokia. And there was a little bit of drama because the weather played a big part in this event. So first round went off, you know, second round, there was a lot of weather delay, and it ended up getting held till the following day. So Saturday, the lead card didn't even tee off their second round at Tampere until the third day. So the third day, that lead card ended up playing 2 full rounds of disc golf. And did that play out and affect the outcome? Definitely possibly could have been part of it, but we'll get to that. So first 2 rounds at Tampere, and then the final 2 rounds at Nokia. Now, another thing that comes into, or that was announced, is the Nokia course looks like it's not going to be there very much longer. It is set for next year's Worlds, I believe. But that course, come 2026, looks like it's going to be gone. How much of it will it get changed, and will they still have access to some of the land? Not positive on that. We did hear that the big chunk of it's going to become a swimming hall. But it's definitely a sad day. I love watching that course. I think it's a fantastic, one of the best courses out there to watch and challenge the disc golfers. But things change. We got to adjust. What are you going to do? They don't own the land, so, you know, city's going to do what the city's going to do. But moving on to the changes at hole 16, on hole 16. It wasn't as dramatic, because it seemed like the worst a player could do is a double bogey there. As discussed in our previous episode, you had a tee, your tee off. If you go OB, you go to a drop zone. If you go OB from that drop zone, you go to the other drop zone, which is like a 40-foot putt, slightly downhill to that little island. but personally didn't like it. I did hear a bunch of the players discuss that via videos, their YouTube channels, or little clips on social media. Doesn't sound like it was a good change in the opinions of a lot of the professionals. But again, you got to deal with it, and everybody had those same rules for their rounds. So it was even across the board just because everybody had to deal with those rules. However, was not as dramatic. That can be a round killer and can crush your hopes of finishing well, because that's hole 16. You only have 17, 18 to try to make any comeback. 17 is kind of tough. You can go OB pretty easy if you overshoot it. Has that down angled left green. And hole 18, really, the only thing you can hope for is your competitors to go OB. Other than that, it's kind of a maybe birdie or par on average. But yeah, so anyways, let's get into it. Day one for FPO. Kristen started off with a massive heater, shooting a -9 on Tampere. Closest to her was Evelina Salonen, and she was back by 4 strokes. She was a 5 down. Day 2, Evelina definitely had a better round than Kristen, and she ends up finishing 1 behind Tatar, moving over into round 3 at Nokia. Day 3, Tatar has a really bad round for Kristen's measures. Really bad round. And Evelina ends up taking the lead. So very unusual for Kristen to have that drastic of a change in round, moving from, again, maybe it was the moving from the Tampere to the Nokia course. Maybe that came into effect. I don't know. But she did mention that it's like she forgot to play. So I don't know if you've had that happen. I've definitely had that happen where I go play a round of disc golf. A couple weeks later, I go to play, and for some reason, something doesn't feel right. It's like I've lost my routine. So whether it's a routine that she had trouble with off the tee, or maybe it's her routine on putting, or just being able to gauge the distance, it was just off for her, she said. So, you got to fight back. One thing she did do was she definitely fought back. So having I think it was a 7-stroke deficit, she ends up just turning on the boosters and making a comeback, as Kristen Tatar can only do. Well, can't say only, but we know she's a fighter. We know that she has a bag full of talent, and she was able to make that comeback. So it was the largest comeback victory in final round major history. So she ends up making a 7-stroke comeback, and it took her, funny thing was, is it took her 10 holes to tie for first. So she was back by 7. Within 10 holes, she was tied for first. But the other question there for me is, now, as of European Open, she is 10 majors back of Paige. Curious, I brought this up a long time ago. How long do you think it takes until Tatar passes Paige in major victory count? I mean, she's been playing at the top for what? 5, 6 years, I think. 5 years, 6 years in DGPT and major events where she's been doing really well. And she's already at 7 wins. I think 7 or 8. No, 7. 7 wins. And she's almost halfway to Paige's major count. So I'm curious to see how that progresses, and if and when she catches Paige. We will see. But what are your guesses? If you do have any guesses, shoot them in the comments down below. Let us know, how many majors do you think Kristen will get? 2, will Paige get another major? And 3, if she does catch her, how long do you think it will take for Kristen to catch Paige in major victories? Again, I do critiques. You know this. I saw that one of the spotters, I mentioned this. I feel like I have to mention that. I don't have to mention this. But I do bring it up because I hate seeing it on coverage. I hate seeing spotters in the middle of the fairway or right in front of the basket. Just a pet peeve of mine. But again, it happened at the European Open. It's like some of these shots are so obvious off the tee that they're inbounds, right? And some of them, though they aren't, when the catch cam is there on, let's say, a par 3 hole where they can reach the pin, I don't need to see that spotter walk out into the middle of the fairway or just shy of the basket. I want to see the flight of the disc come in without any obstacles or distractions. And to me, that's a distraction from the coverage. But again, me just pointing out my gripes, I guess. One big thing that I did take from this is Kristen's interview. She, if Kristen isn't the best, well, one of the best representations of a human, let alone disc golfer, I don't know who it is. Her interview after the European Open was very heartfelt, very right to the gut of how she feels in that moment. And it wasn't necessarily about disc golf. It was about how she felt and how she overcame her questions or, I don't know, her issues from that third bad round that she had, and how she basically gave herself grace and gave herself comfort in knowing that she is good enough to make that comeback. And I think that's wonderful. I think that's an amazing outlook to have when you have a horrible, it was a bad round. So the strength it takes to give yourself to, I don't know what the word is, to allow yourself that upset and then be able to overcome that in the long run in just one more additional round. Amazing. I just wanted to shout that out. Now, that also does give Kristen a back-to-back major win. So that's awesome as well. Second place, Silva Saarinen. She had some great play. She just came up short in that final round, and she had a chance for a major victory there, her first major. But she just came up a little short, and you could tell it in her face when you saw her on hole 17 and 18, where she just sat down on that bench after her tee shot, and she looked visually upset with herself and sad. I don't like to see that. She's an amazing disc golfer. This is definitely not the last you're going to see from her. She's been dominating this year overseas, and keep an eye out for Silva Saarinen. Third place was Missy Gannon. Missy Gannon came back strong and was able to capture third place. Moving on to MPO, you had the reigning champ, Corey Ellis, from last year. He did not do well at this event. He had a very rough start in round one. Somebody to mention on this was Roland Kaur. I think that's how you say his name. 16 years old at a major, and he was pushing the limits of the other players there. He did really well at that event. Randon Lotta and Chris Dickerson, after the first round, were tied for the lead. So you've heard those names before. Randon Lotta, not necessarily at the top, but his name has jumped in and out of those lead cards over the years, and he's another name to look for. But big shout out to Roland Core, the 16-year-old, because he played very well during this event. You know, Paul Macbeth was a topic of this event because he's won it, I think, 6 times? 4? He's won it many times. This event, he's done very, very well throughout history. But he had his ups and downs this event. He had some pushes, but we'll get there. Round 2, again, like I said before, there was a weather delay. So that lead card round, or that lead card wasn't even able to start their round on Friday for round 2. So it got pushed back to day 3. So day 3, that lead card ended up playing a full 36 holes, once at Tampere and once at Nokia. So I think that plays a huge part. Not only do you play 2 rounds, you're playing at different courses in one day. So you have that first round early in the morning. You got to travel over to the other course. You got to play that. Switch out the discs that don't apply to that course, because I know that the pros do that for the most part. They carry what is beneficial to that specific course. So were they able to do that? Maybe that was part of it. Day 3, Gannon played extremely well and ends up with a 3-stroke lead over Macbeth with that final round to go. 3 strokes is not a large lead, especially at Nokia. But after that round, you know, you have Burr, you have Macbeth, and you had Wysocki. Wysocki was only 1 stroke back of Macbeth. So you have Burr, 3 strokes behind him, Macbeth, and then 4 strokes behind him, Wysocki. Killer in final rounds. Wysocki is a beast in the final round, and so is Macbeth. Both of them are strong final round players, and they know how to kick into that extra gear to make up ground. Paul Macbeth did not do that great in the final round as he usually does, and especially at Nokia, but Wysocki did find that extra gear, and he definitely challenged Gannon Burr in that final round. And man, coming down those final few holes, Burr had a few hiccups that Wysocki took advantage of, and lucky for him, Wysocki could not finish it out on hole 18. Hole 18, Wysocki had a chance. He had a chance. But Burr, middle fairway, really ideal spot off of his drive right there near the first corner. And Wysocki's upshot, I think he went OB, but his upshot gave him a chance for par, to salvage par. And he was only, I think, 40 to 50 feet away. So he was right near that. Actually, his first shot was in bounds. His upshot went OB right near the stage. So if you know hole 18, there's a stage that the upshot has to hyzer in front of. And Wysocki's shot just kind of, he was encumbered by a tree, one of the trees on the fairway. So he didn't have a full run up. And he had kind of like this short run up where he kind of had to force his shot, and it just stayed straight and it went OB. And then he had that 40 to 50 foot putt, which Wysocki's known for making long putts. He's really good at those shots, especially under pressure. But Gannon ended up putting his, like I said, his drive, ideal spot, nothing around him to hurt his run up. His second shot ended up basing it, because he did think, he talked about whether he should have, or what went through his head, whether he should just safe play and then a dinker right up to the basket and then tap in. And he thought to himself, with Wysocki being the putter that he is, especially in pressure situations, he needed to get that birdie, and he based his upshot. His upshot, tap in. Literally right there. So that sealed the deal. And your winner, second major now, Gannon Burr. So Gannon has 2 majors now. USDGC in 2022 and now the European Open. This was his first time out there and he gets that victory. So second place ended up being Ricky Wysocki. Third place was Paul Macbeth at the European Open. So big shout out to Kristen and Gannon Burr for their additional majors that they can tack onto their list of wins. Now after that is kind of a newer event. It was held July 26th to 28th. It was the European Disc Golf Festival that was in Tallinn, Estonia. Right before the event, they actually had what they called Delphi Superstar Challenge. So this was really cool because it was kind of like the President's Cup-ish kind of thing or All-Stars event, actually, more like an All-Star event at the beginning of the year, where they challenged distance, accuracy, and putting situations. So these were team-based. There was, I think, a total of 8 teams initially that started it out. A few things from this event, and as well as the European Disc Golf Festival that followed it. The announcements were awesome because of the stage setting. They had smoke machines and all that good stuff, announcements of all the players for each of the teams. And it was really, the production was well done. Very high production rate. It was really awesome to watch. Fun to see the stats of the player with their picture up on this massive display as they announced them to come out, and the smoke machine shooting and all that good stuff. Really, really cool. I think it was probably very fun for the athletes as well. And through all this, so they had distance drives off this raised tee out over this field that kind of had an incline. So though the basket was probably pretty level with the tee, you had marked out OBs that the distance drives had to still stay within. So it was a golf shot, expected golf shot. And then the accuracy was from the other side of the field, downhill, wide open. However, it was, again, a marked area circle for them to hit to get points. So I think it started at 50 or 75 points, and then the closer you got, it would increase 100, 125, 150. That was really cool because you played this downhill shot. I think it was 370 feet or so, something like that downhill, 385. And you saw the different ways in which the athletes attacked it. But I did hear some people state, oh, it's wide open, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, well, it's an exhibition type event. It was fun to watch, however you look at it. And then the putting, putting is where the majority of the points came into play. They had a 15-meter putt, then they had, I think, a 25 and then a 40 or something along those lines. For the most part, they all went for that short putt to get those points. In the end, for the Delphi Superstar Challenge, Team Coling is the team that ended up winning, and that had Coling, Eagle, and Anakin Steen. She was on that team, and they ended up taking the big victory home for that kind of all-star, like I said, exhibition-style event prior to the European Disc Golf Festival tournament taking off the next day. So, takeaways for me on the European Disc Golf Festival after watching it was the course markings were great, very apparent around the pins and for OBs and all that stuff. Very obvious marking, the painting and all that stuff. Very well done. Good on screen. Easy to see for where the discs landed. The production of the event was great. Again, DGN is the one that covered it. It was well done, as well as DGN does nowadays. They up their game every event, it seems. So big shout out to them. It was a fun event to watch. one of the things people said was the course was, very open. I don't think the whole thing was open. There were definitely a couple courses or a couple holes where they were literally shooting down an alleyway of trees. So to keep a disc that dead straight as far as those holes were is probably one. And if you talk to any disc golfer, the hardest shot is that straight shot. You got to have a disc that'll stay dead straight for a decent amount of distance. And for the pros, it's usually 350, somewhere 325, 350, dead straight. That is a tough shot to do. Even the pros say that. So those tunnel shots, they're very fun to watch too, because some of those, I believe, had a Mando that they had to cross within that tight tunnel. And that was definitely a testament to skill on those holes. But yes, were they open? Yes. Again, this is a different style event. It's the 2024 European Disc Golf Festival. They had bands playing. They had the areas where you can buy all the goodies. And in between events, like I said, they had DJs. They had the big screen up for the DJs and all that stuff. So it was, I think it was more of a fun style event. I think it was definitely still challenging to the competitors, but I don't get the gripes on, you know what? I take that back. I can't say that because I do have my own gripes on these events. I do have my own critiques and issues. So everybody's entitled to their own opinions and tastes for what type of disc golf events they like to watch. And those are all valid to that person. For me, I thought it was fine. Is it my favorite event? No, not by a long shot. There's a lot of events that I like to watch more than this. But again, I take this as more of a funner event for the athletes to play. And again, it was fun to watch. On FPO side, day one, Heidi Lena had the hot round. She shot a 9 down to take lead after round one. Missy shot a 1 down. Tatar was even. So this event, Tatar did not come out strong after her comeback at the European Open. Whether, you know how there is a bit of a saying of like when you shoot that well at a really good event, the following event, usually they don't do well. Now, Kristen might be another story because she usually does well across the board, but this definitely wasn't the case at the beginning of this event. Kristen did not shoot that great. She was even. So she was 9 strokes back of Heidi after round one. Round two, Heidi, she held on to that lead. There were a lot of players actually within striking distance of her. They were staggered as it went down, but she was able to hold that lead going into day three. Day three, there was a big push from the field. Missy and Evelina ended up taking charge and ended up going into a playoff at the end. So Heidi wasn't able to maintain that lead through the final round. And through that playoff, big money takes down the victory. And Missy Gannon gets that win at the European Disc Golf Festival. So for FPO, Missy Gannon gets to add that to her list of victories. And we all know she's a strong putter. That was probably the majority of the reason why she made that big comeback. And like I said, Evelina, with her putting, you can never count her out at any of these events. Her putting has, over the past couple years, has just massively increased in quality. And we all know that she throws extremely far. She's one of the farthest throwers in the FPO field, in the FPO division. So, you can never count her out. But big shout out to Missy on her win. At MPO, you had Ricky came out, coming out of the gate, Ricky looked like he had a chance. I think he was 10 down through 10. And it looked like he had a really good chance at shooting a perfect 18 down. He didn't. However, He shot a 16 down. First round at this course, 16 down. Ridiculous. I think the next closest was, I think there was a tie for 10 down. 3 people, I believe, had a tie at 10 down. So he came out massively hot. Second round, he shot, I think it was a 12 down. So again, a really good round. And the field does get a few strokes back, but he gave himself enough of a cushion that he had a little bit of wiggle room going into the final round, because he did maintain first after round 2. And one of those people that made that massive push was Macbeth. Macbeth fires off, I think he shot a 12 down that final round. Ricky ended up shooting, I think it was 8. Not as good as his other 2 rounds, but that 8 did end up giving him just enough. Macbeth, I think it came down to the last 2 holes where Macbeth actually had a chance to make and catch up for the big win. But Ricky's first round, if he didn't shoot that 16, we would have another person to be talking about right now. We would be saying Macbeth had a win at the European Disc Golf Festival. But due to that first round, I think he had I think it was rated 11, 12, 11, it was high 1100s or 11 teens, I think, is what it ended up finally being. So he had that -6 or 16 down round was insane. Everything was on for him. If you haven't watched that first round, go check out that first round, because that was just a clinic for that course. He prior to that, actually, he had a couple videos where he did like practice rounds. So he has the front 9 and back 9 practice rounds for that European Disc Golf Festival course. So you can go check those out on his YouTube channel as well. But big shout out to Ricky Wysocki for getting that win. So again, disc golf, European Disc Golf Festival, your FPO winner, Missy Gannon, and your MPO winner, Ricky Wysocki. I did add this. I decided to maybe do this in upcoming episodes. I wanted to do a pro highlight. Reason being is I came across a live stream that Cole Rodolin was doing. And I like learning about all the pros, and even outside of disc golf, I like to learn things about them, because then you get a more of a personal connection, and you see their personalities come out more. But just some quick stats, as well as a couple questions I asked during that live stream that he had. So stats were simple: born and raised in Columbia, South Carolina until he was 8. He's 19 years old, and he lives in Hillsboro, Oregon. His first event that he played was the 2015 Busy Beaver Open, and that was in October of 2015, and that was Junior 2 boys. That's the first event that he had. First MPO event was Stumptown Slosh number 2. That was in December of 2019. Now, the first MPO win that he had was the battle at Horning's Hideout, and that was in March of 2021. So it took him 6 years to get, well, not 6 years. It took him 2 years to get his first MPO win. He has had 16 MPO wins overall through all of the tiers. So since, his start in 2015, so 8 years, he's had 16 wins. So shout out to him on that. And he has had one DGPT Elite Series win, and that win was last year. That was in August. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It is the Discraft Ledgestone Open is the event that he won. And he is, I want to say he's like 6'5", long wingspan, young. He's got the power behind it. He's got the mentality. He's got the training that he puts into. I do like to see that part on these up-and-coming pros. not that he's up and coming because he's been in the game for a little bit now, but these younger pros and the mentality that they put into their craft, their training, their workout schedule, their mindset that goes into all this. Big shout out to those guys that actually take it really, really seriously and start involving and including those aspects of being a professional athlete. I did ask whether he plans to go because he wasn't able to go to Europe this year. He does plan on going to Europe next year. So hopefully we'll be able to see him at the European Open and some of those European events next year in 2025 in the season. Couple things that he did mention, some questions that I asked, was one of the sponsors that he would love to be sponsored by. So if you do know anybody there, give a little shout out, is Adidas. Or Adidas, depending on how you say it. He would love to be sponsored by them. Big fan of that company, Adidas. Other sports or hobbies that he has while he's not on the disc golf course is basketball and pickleball. Those are things that he's picked up over the years, and he likes to play those things. So his mindset is one of the things that I do appreciate and makes him one of those players that's easy to cheer on and hope for more big wins in his career. I think for as young as he is, he's very mature in his mindset and how he looks at going into an event and how he looks at training for that event. So yeah, big shout out to him. The final thing I guess I did want to mention is faith is a huge part of his life. It does. I asked him, how that plays a part, and he says overall it keeps him calm in all types of situations. So he leans on his faith for keeping his strength and his ability to stay calm in those turbulent times. So let me know. Do you want to learn more about pros? If there's a pro that you do want to learn more about, I can reach out and talk to them, ask them some questions. Do a little pro highlight segment in these episodes. If you do have one, shoot it down in the comments below. I'd love to figure out who people would like to learn more about, because if you'd like to learn more about it, I know I would. So, okay, this gets us to the upcoming events segment. We have 4 events over the next couple weeks that will be happening. We have August 1st to 4th. We just talked about it. 2023 was Colradallen. The 2024 Ledgestone Open, Peoria, Illinois. That will be held this weekend. So August 1st through 4th. August 2nd through 4th is the 2024 Yarva Open and Tuni. I think that's how they say it, Tuni. That's at Yarva, Stockholm, Sweden. August 9th through 11th, you're going to have the 2024 LWS Open at Idlewild. That is in Burlington, Kentucky. And that same weekend, August 9th through 11th, the 2024 Baltic Disc Golf Championship in Alutagis, Vasavyr, Estonia. I hope I didn't slaughter that. There's a high probability I did. Moving on. Okay, we're at the question of the episode, guys. Question of the episode. There's different ways you can look at this, but the question is, Gannon Burr, is Gannon the real deal? Just some quick little stats here. He's had 2 major wins now as of European Open. He's had 9 DGPT wins, 3 of those being silver events. So he's had 6 Elite Series, higher end series DGPT events. He is currently rated 1,051, which was the most recent bump. He got a 2-point bump, which kicked him over that 1050 rated number. And he's had 1 1100 rated round in his career that I could find. I don't know if I think personally it's too early. It's 2022 is when he had his first major win at USDGC. He's had, like I said, the 6 Elite Series level DGPT events, 3 Silver Series events. 3 years in with those, let's count the Silver Series. He's had 11 wins in 3 years. Big wins. Is it too early to say he's one of the best? I think he's on track to be so. Personally, I think it's too early to say that he is. He definitely has the talent to do so. He's 19 as well, I think. He's got his age on his side. He's got the tools in his bag and his abilities on his side. He's got the wingspan. You're starting to see the body types, average body types that do really well in disc golf, and that's tall, long wingspan, or even not even, you don't even have to necessarily be super tall, but wingspan definitely comes into play. So I think that maybe, I think give him 2 more years before you start putting him in that one of the best categories. Is he an extremely good disc golfer? Yes. Extremely good. His putting, again, one of the first things I noticed about him when he came on the scene was his putting and his ability to putt from a knee. He was cashing things left and right in 2022 from a knee. And this year, you've seen him go to that knee putt. And again, it works for him. So his ability to get a lot of power without a lot of lower body effort just from his arm and his putting style, amazing. But I say we give it another couple years before we put him in the category of one of the best. Is he, now you could say one of the best this year or last year, but overall, let's give it a little bit more time, guys. What is your opinion? Do you think Gannon Buhr is currently one of the best, will be one of the best, or do you think that he's going to plateau? Do you think that we should be talking about that right now? Or do you agree with me in the fact of let's give it a little bit more time before we start having that discussion? Outside of that, guys, I think this is, I think we're pretty much done here. We do have a couple items here to clean up with. Quick announcement on the SkipAce League. I like to put this in the videos in our conversation. Justin has been doing very well over the past few events, and he was able to overtake Ben. So right now, again, like I said, we only have 5 people in this league. We're looking at opening it up next year to more people. If you'd be interested in joining our SkipAce League, or depending on if we try another fantasy disc golf app or company to try out, would you be interested in joining our league? Let us know below, and we will definitely be happy to include you guys in next season's set of events. But yeah, big shout out to Justin. So he's got second, kind of solid right now. Me, let's not go there. Let's not talk about that. So, moving on, you guys like saving money, right? We all like saving money. There's a few things here that I want to go through. We do this every show, and currently they're still valid. So, discdrifters.com. If you have a future trip coming up that involves disc golf, go to discdrifters.com. You can use code DiscGolfShow, all one word, DiscGolfShow, and you can get 25% off of selected properties. That's gonna, what you can do there is you can get flight, rental, car rental, your Airbnb or place to stay. I believe that they're integrating events now into that process. So go check them out. Again, more of a newer business that's kind of building their repertoire of offerings. But if you are a disc golfer and you want to save 25% off of selected properties, then on your upcoming trip, then go there. Their website is discdrifters.com. And again, that code, Disc Golf Show, 25% off. If you are in the market for a new bag and you want to try out some sweet bags, go to Upper Park Disc Golf. That is upperparkdiscgolf.com. You can use, again, code Disc Golf Show. See what we did there. And you can get 15% off your purchase. So go to Upper Park Disc Golf. They have a bunch of different types of bags, but 15% off is money saved, guys. They have, I think the Shift is a nice little lightweight, smaller bag that you can get. So if you want something to stash in your car for a smaller set of discs, that way you always have them. You don't have to bring your whole bag or your whole cart or whatever. Go check them out. Again, Upper Park Disc Golf. Look at this, I've been talking so long my screens went off. upperparkdiscgolf.com, code DiscGolfShow, 15% off. And again, big shout out to Laser Engraving and Embroidery for our polos for the show. Go check them out. Their website, engravingembroidery.com. And again, they have more than just polos. They got all kinds of apparel that you can get on there. Last shout out, Final 9 Sports. Episode was brought to you by Final 9 Sports. 2 locations in Northern California, one in Orangevale, one in Rocklin, and go support local. So if you're not in the Northern California area, go to your local pro shop and support them because they are there supporting the disc golfers in that area. If you do have any desire to contact us, shoot us an email at theshow@discgolfshow.com. If there's something about this episode that you didn't like, send me hate mail. You can send it to nick@discgolfshow.com. But yeah, guys, let me know on that pro highlight segment if you kind of like to learn a little bit more about different pros. And if you do have a specific pro, shoot us an email or put it in the comments down below. Hit that subscribe button, click, smash, whatever you want to call it, that subscribe button. When we do hit that 1,500 subscribers mark, we will be holding a giveaway, and most likely it'll probably be more than just one person. So more than one of you will benefit from that. Share our channel, share this episode, let your friends know about it so that we can hit that 1,500 subscriber mark and give back to you guys. And for Justin and me, thank you very much for watching. We do appreciate all your support, and I'll do Justin's spiel. In disc golf, as in life, aim high and let it fly. All right, guys, have a good one.